Hi everyone, welcome to Calm Color Canvas. Today we will be painting this beautiful landscape with some artificial light source, and by that I mean something other than sun or moon. So for a long time I wanted to paint an outdoor space with a lamp or candle or anything like that, but after a lot of pondering I decided to draw this wonderful nature scape with tea light candles. So please feel free to follow along with me in this tutorial as I will be guiding you step by step as what I have applied to do this. Presently we will go and paint 2/3 of the canvas for the sky. So for that I am using the color 193B63, and you can put it in the value of the color wheel, and I'll be using from the brush library a brush named medium brush from airbrushing, and I'll start painting from the right side of the canvas, and I'll paint 2/3 of it with full opacity for the right side of my canvas. Now for the middle section of my canvas I will be reducing the opacity to nearly 70 to 71% and paint with the same brush and the same color. And for the left side of the canvas I will change the color in the color wheel to something lighter, and I'll use the same brush, medium brush, but this time with full opacity for the left side of my canvas for the sky. When I am done painting this, I'll be using Gaussian blur from adjustments, and I will be blurring it to nearly 35%, 30 or 34%, so that it forms a beautiful sky with hues of blue on different sides. Now painting the clouds, and I select the clouds from elements, and I'll be painting the clouds first on the right. So for the color I have chosen something darker than the right side sky color, and for this brush, as I mentioned, it is from elements and it is called clouds, and I generally change the size from 2% to 7%. If I need smaller clouds I use 2% or 1%, and if I need a bit bigger clouds I use 7%. So you can feel free to draw any shape clouds you want, because clouds are organic shapes. They can be of any type, any way you want it. So give yourself that freedom and go ahead with the clouds. So that's, as you can see, I'm doing the right side first, now the middle section, and then I'll be going to the left section. I'll pick up the color from the left sky, and maybe a tiny bit darker than that I'll draw the colors on the left side too. I'll be blurring the clouds using Gaussian blur under adjustments to nearly 2%, and after that I'll pick up the brush from the brush library. I'll pick up rainforest brush under organic and use it to do some detailing of clouds on top of the present clouds, and I'll create a new layer for that. And I'll choose a color with the value 285A77, reducing the size of my brush to 2%. I'll start painting over from the right side. You can play with the size of the brush and the color as per your wish. Even maybe I'll be changing the color later, but presently I'm using this, and the size of the brush I have kept 2. So now I might be switching off the layer 1 so that I can view this layer 2 and layer 3 of clouds properly for smudging. And I am using the rainforest brush for smudging too. So I'll be merging layer 2 and layer 3 of the cloud so that I can smudge better with the rainforest brush under organic, and to produce that blurry effect, how clouds look, the ones which are behind. After I'm done this smudging, I'll switch back the sky layer or the layer 1 to visible. Presently I have switched it off so that I can see how well I'm doing with my clouds. Because I think my clouds have taken up a lot of area on the canvas, so I'll be cutting a freeform shape using freehand under the tool which is written as S, and I'll be moving that slightly to the right, and so that it looks organic and not just cut out, I'm using warp as from that selection tool, and also the arrow tool. I'm using both of them and warping the cloud so that it gives the organic shape. I want my clouds to be visible on the sky, so I'm making my sky layer 1 a bit lighter. So I will increase the brightness to 59% and also the saturation to nearly 80% so that my clouds are more visible. So I am going to smudge my clouds a bit more because they are going to be the background of the clouds. See, if you look at normal clouds on the sky, you will see always the front side of the cloud pops out because that is lighter, and it has the lower bit of the cloud or the clouds which are behind are a bit darker. So for that purpose, I'm smudging these clouds. I will redraw with a lighter color which will act as those clouds which are lighter that we get to see on naturally in the sky and which are in front. So I'll be using something lighter color, and the color that I'm using is a light blue color with number 1C4A68 to paint the highlights of the clouds. And I'll be using the same rainforest brush, and this time I'll be using like 2% or 1% because this will make the highlights or the clouds, you can say, which are more closer to us. So I'll be changing color. You can feel free to change yours, and as I always mention that clouds are organic and they can be of any color, any shape, so feel free to experiment. I'll change the hue and brightness of the color so that up to my liking, and so you also can go and do that under adjustments and changing the brightness, saturation. So after that, I'll choose something which is lighter than the present color, and going with my rainforest brush, I will draw very I think so the brush size is 1% or 2%, and I'm drawing highlights on my darker clouds. So these highlights will make our clouds pop out, the one that I was talking about, like how we see normally when you look up at the sky. So after this, on my left hand side, I'll be drawing a bit brighter red color clouds. So for which I have taken the color from the color wheel with value F6342C, and I have started doing that with size 2% of rainforest brush on my left side of the canvas. So now I am choosing something a bit darker to be like the background of the brighter red. So I'll be keeping on switching between the red that I have used and with something which is darker than it for becoming the background of the cloud, and something lighter to become the highlight in front of a cloud. So clouds are all about drawing a cloud with a darker color, then drawing with a mid-tone color, not very light, and then giving highlights with a very light color. So as you can see now, I am painting with light orange so that this gives the effect of, that last bit of sunlight before the sun sets, or it's already nearly set, but the little bit of sunlight that falls on the clouds even when the sun is nearly setting, to give that highlight, I have used that light orange. And I will smudge these clouds with a rainforest brush to make them look much more realistic and pop out. And also I'm using these dark clouds which are on top or behind or far away from the sun, on top of this red clouds on which the sunlight hasn't fallen. So I'll be going and using the hue, brightness, saturation on my clouds to adjust the brightness and also the saturation, and I am drawing on it with some lighter value of red so that it gives that highlight. And now I'll be drawing with orange, so that my clouds really pop out. So after this I'll be smudging so that the clouds mix, and it doesn't look that the colors are separate from each other, so that they blend in. And after that I sometimes am using this eraser tool, the rainforest option only, and erasing certain places of the clouds, and after that I will smudge it back. Feel free to do, it's your clouds and how you want it. So you might think I have spent a lot of time on drawing the clouds, but that I have done because if the clouds in your landscape look strikingly beautiful, it makes the whole picture stand out. So you might feel that I'm using a lot of detailing, a lot of time on these clouds, but you will see the effect after the landscape is finished. So now I am using a bright orange color, and to give those light effects of when the sunlight is nearly gone, and I will be reducing the opacity of that layer where that's a new layer on which I have done this bright orange color, and reduce the opacity to show that the last bits of sunlight falling on those clouds. Now on the right I have taken a part of the cloud and I'm trying to make it look a bit more fluffier using the warp tool. I have cut and I'm trying to adjust it. The line that you can see, a blue line that has been formed, I will try to erase it or smudge it so that it doesn't look distinct and no one understands that I have cut a part of my cloud and made it look pop out a bit more. So you can leave that part or you can follow along, but I think now I'm nearly done with my clouds and I'll leave it there, and I'll go and try to paint the other landforms. And new layer, in layer 5, I'll draw a line with dark brown. So now I'll be taking medium brush from airbrushing to draw the light small hill with the darker brown color on both sides. First I'm drawing on the right and then I'll draw on the left, and it's just an organic shape. You can draw any type of hill you want, or you can copy the way I have done. So I'm making the hill part which is on the right a bit darker than the one which is on the left, because if you see, the clouds also on the right are a bit darker than the clouds which are on the left. So it is as such that the light is more on the left and light is a bit lesser on the right. And I have done this on a new layer. Now I'm adjusting it on the horizon. So I have adjusted the position of my hill, and now I'll be duplicating the layer 5 and then use the arrow tool and flip vertical and then adjust the hill, which is now working as a shadow for layer 5. Now I'll be going to hue, brightness, saturation, and just increase the brightness slightly bit of this new layer, which is the duplicate of layer 5, so that it is lighter color than the hill above, as that is just a reflection. Similarly, I have done the same thing for the sky layer, and also now I have made sure that all the clouds layer are in the same layer, and I duplicate that layer. I bring it down, go to the arrow tool and click on flip vertical to flip it over so that it looks like a shadow. So, and for both the sky duplicate layer, which is acting as a water, and also for the cloud layer, which is acting as a reflection, I will be adjusting both of its brightness and opacity, and I'll increase their brightness and bring down the opacity so that they look that is a reflection on the water, but are not as bright as the real sky or the real clouds. So it's just a matter of adjusting and making sure that the water reflection is lighter than the real hill or the sky or the clouds. So you can do that by decreasing your opacity in the layer where you can click on the N and decrease the opacity, or you can go to the hue, brightness, saturation from the transform tool, the one with the symbol with the wand, and increase the brightness. So I will start painting the bank of the lake with charcoal 6B compressed brush with smaller size. Then I'll increase the size of the brush to cover the area, but it's a bit lighter brown. Then using a bit darker shade of brown, I will use the same 6B compressed charcoal brush and make thin lines on it, a very small size like 1%, and make thin lines on it so that it gives a feel of unevenness in the ground or the bank, so as to create some feeling of texture on the land. And after that, I will go to the smudge tool and use, under charcoal there is something known as burnt tree, and I'll use that brush to smudge this darker brown shade so that it gives a feeling of grain and grass on the banks of the lake. You think of it as a lake or a river, doesn't matter, but it's the bank, and on this bank we'll be drawing that artificial tea light candles to give an artificial light source. So I'm just making it a little bit more grainy using brush sometimes, and sometimes changing it to smudge. So you can go on as you like. So using orange color, brighter orange color, I'll be drawing the outlines of the glass holder which will be carrying the tea light candle. Among I'll start from bottom to top. So I'm drawing using the medium brush from airbrushing with size 1%, and I'll use that to draw the lowest bit of the glass. So by using the medium brush from airbrushing, I'm drawing the base of the glass holder, which is also made of glass, and I'm flattening it so that on top of it I can draw the second layer of the base of the glass. Now I'll be using throughout the medium brush mostly, and I'll let you know if there is a change in the brush size. So using a bit darker orange, I've done the very bottom of where the tea light candle will be there, and now using the darker brown I'm doing the side edges of the glass container. I made it in the shape of a bit like mason jar, but it's just a round container of glass or water that you drink. You can adjust the size like I'm doing, but it's all up to you. So I'm picking a bit gray from that yellow color wheel place, and I have used it to draw an ellipse for the top of the glass, and on it I am taking a even lighter shade, the same color, and making some highlights. Now I've gone to orange to make some more highlights, which are the bright bits that fall on the glass because of the candle inside it when it is lit. So I'm giving those effects even before I have started drawing the candle. So I'm taking the gray color from the blue part of the color wheel to make the bottom of the tea light candle, and I'll fill it with that gray. And since it is metal, to give the shading of the metal, I'll be using a bit darker gray so that it looks like a metal container. You all have seen those tea light candles in the steel containers, small ones. For this I'm using HB, sometimes the HB pencil, which comes under sketching when it is very thin lines that I have to draw, but mostly it's medium brush under an airbrushing. So with the dark gray color from the blue side of the color wheel, I'm coloring certain parts on that tea light candle so that I can smudge it and make it look like a metallic shape with some parts dark and some parts bright, showing that it is a metallic container which is reflecting light. After that I am using a very light yellow on the lighter sections to give highlights to show that the candle light is throwing some light, and those light parts of that metal are reflecting that light. And for very thin lines I'm switching between medium brush from airbrushing and pencil from sketching, 6B or HB pencil. For the candle I'm using pure white color, and in a new layer I'm drawing it. So I'm using very dark gray from the blue side of the color wheel to make the wick of the candle, and then using a brush from luminance I have used light brush with a very small size to draw the flame, and I have used a very bright yellow first, because this light brush, gives that glow of any light very well. So I have used that first, and on top of it I will go again and again with a medium brush from airbrushing and a very small size. I will be going over it again and again with a darker orange, and I'll then smudge it, and I'll go back with maybe some more darker orange color, smudge it back, then go with a lighter yellow color, smudge it back. I'll be continuing the process. Also, I'll be duplicating my flame, the layer of my flame, which is a separate layer, which is on a separate layer, and I will merge them both together so that the flame looks a bit more brighter. And I'll be adjusting the brightness, and I'll bring it down slight bit more, and I'll increase the hue so it looks a bit more orangish, uh, the way actually candles glow. And I'm keeping on going over with that orange color and medium brush, and I will go back with something with light yellow to give some more highlights. And then again I might go back with some orange, darker orange, uh, and then a slight bit again of lighter yellow, and I'll smudge this, keep on smudging and drawing so that it gives that bright orange glow to my flame. After that I'll draw that effect of that flame, sort of reflection on the glass holder that is holding this candle, and I will smudge those lines. Those lines are drawn by medium airbrushing brush, under airbrushing, and with very less size, like 1%, and then I'll smudge it. After that I might select the sketch. From sketching I might select a 6B pencil for very thin lines that needs to be highlighted around the edges of the glass holder. So it's like it's like a repetitive process, and wherever you feel that you need to improve on it, you can go ahead and keep on changing. Like, you might see me changing but it certain places, but I'm nearly done, and I'll make the left hand side a bit more darker than the right hand side. So I'm just putting on another layer glow. I have used very light yellow, and I've just drawn a curve with medium brush, and you can blur it out with Gaussian blur 3%, and then it will give a nice glow behind your flame, and adjust it according to your wish. So art is all about adjustment, so you will see me adjusting the things again and again so that it looks as perfect as it can be in real life. So after this I have merged all of these layers of one candle that I have used to create this candle. All the layers I have merged it into one layer for the candle, and I'll be copying this particular candle, and I'll be pasting into two more, so that we can have 3 candles. So I like to use as much features of the tool we can. So it would be pointless to draw a candle with so much time and effort and not being able to duplicate it. So here I'll be copying and pasting, and bring 2 more tea light candle holders beside it. So I'm actually trying to adjust the position where exactly I can put my lights so that they look great in comparison to the landscape. I mean, they should be accentuating the landscape, so I'm trying to find the perfect place for that, and also the perfect size for the candle. duplicating my layer which has the entire candle, and I'll make two more layers, duplicate it into two more layers so that I can make three candles out of it, instead of drawing the same candle with so much effort again and again. So I want to use all the tools that Procreate provides and make the best use of it. You can either duplicate it or cut and paste from the wrench tool beside gallery. You can use that for copying and pasting. And as I can see, there is some more light behind those candles, so I will make sure that I will erase those light from the three different layers of the candles, so that there is no extra light behind. And after I'm done doing that, I will make sure I am drawing the glow on the ground. On a new layer, just above layer 7, I will be drawing a glow of the candle using burnt tree under charcoal with light yellow, so that it gives a glow, and also have some green on that land. So I will blur it very less, like 2, 3 or 4% at max, and then I will go and erase maybe certain parts so that it doesn't look too much bright, as you know it's just tea light candles. Then I'll go to burnt tree for smudge under charcoal, and then I will smudge that glow, so that the glow is shown but not much. It will be a very faint glow because these are all candles and not halogen lamp, so, or neither sun on the bank. So I will be smudging it from outwards to inwards so that the glow is contained towards the tea light holder candles and doesn't spread too much on the banks. The glow should be brighter towards the candles, not too much outside the outside area, much farther away from the candles. So if you keep that in mind, your painting will be done, and it's all done. Thanks for watching. If you have liked the tutorial, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button, and please let me know in the comments what you would like to see more of the tutorials.